Good afternoon, punters and dribblers and traders and investors. And if that misses anyone else, welcome to you to another podcast from Traders Community, brought to you by traderscommunity.com. So we had some resolution in the market today that's taken a while to get to this point, but it still isn't all over yet. I have the glorious Madhavi here, and we've been walking you through our strategy on a weekly basis, longer term on the actual futures for S&P and Nasdaq. So we had some resolution there. The bear came out today. Let's see if he stays out. And we've also been trying to set it up for you to make sure you're looking at what actually moves all this behind it. And you had plenty of warning with currencies, first with the dollar yen, and then with the euro of the last few days, and then with the ECB today. You saw all that, and you've seen the bond auctions over the last 3 days. As I've said many times before, it's always the stock market is ladder, because you have a lot of smaller investors, dribblers, etc., rather than actually traders, so it influences it, and that's become even worse with social media. So without further ado, that's why we do warn on that sort of stuff. So remember, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. Use your own information skills. Take responsibility. And do not rely on others for your decision making. Does that sound good? That sound very legalist. Johnny Depp's lawyer gave us that. Okay. Oil, 121.41, got up to almost one. Well, actually, I think it did get over 123 today. The big mover, though, in all futures and markets today was actually natural gas. It fell $1.50, then rallied $1 in the last 24 hours. Remember, these are some of the highest points out there in futures. That is a violent little market. Know what you're doing if you're in that, and have your ears to the ground. SPX 500 finally got under that shelf. 40.24. Same thing happened on Nasdaq. 29.296. And the Russell just couldn't get to that 2,000. It tried pretty bloody hard. 18.55. And we saw some resolution in the VIX. Nothing too much. Still not a lot of fear out there. Which gives you an idea. This market's just so thin and all one way that we're getting these big outside moves. Okay, let's look at the SPUs. So as you can see, we walked through that. We'll start off with the 240, that pennant that was forming. So it dropped out the bottom of that level we've been watching. And that gave you a quick, powerful 70 handle scalp. From the bulls, that would mean this is a fail. This becomes A, B, C, and it gets through this top. That would be a bullish argument. Let's get to the weekly. So as we said, our short was not just based on hot air and BS, it was based on this weekly tanking. So now, as you can see, we're up 150 handles on this trade right now. That's not bad, right? So the key is patience. And I can see the things we've lost on over the last 2 weeks of some stocks that have set up and you've gone short before this resolution, right? So I'm not sure if that happened to other people, but you can see very nice setup there. On daily, we just showed you that triangle all built up on the 240. You can see when it busted that line, it also busted the tanking. So this was a real easy short where we added to it today. I mean, they're never easy when they go on. It's probably the wrong word, but there was reasons to go short. To add to it, okay? So pretty straightforward. Let's have a look at Nasdaq. We'll bring Madhavi on. Let me find a... So that's a daily chart Nasdaq, almost identical to S&P. You can see it busted what's the bloody word I'm looking for, Madhavi? The tanking. There we go. Okay, here's the hourly, and you can see how it's traded today. It's done all this sideways crap for... This is the 27th. I had this little peak exactly like the S&P. This is kind of the area we got short in S&P. Okay, Madhavi, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, so the NQs, finally we got some movement back. I started trading early this morning, probably like 1 o'clock. So it was really choppy. Actually, we were up in the early Morgan hours. I was trading some stocks too. And come on, yeah, and come on in. And so this morning, finally, I got a good short position, and we started selling off. Hold on one second, mate.
Okay, mate. No worries. Yeah, so this morning, Madavi's
Right here. Yeah, so I got a good short position. I thought I was pretty secure in it, and I think I was up like over 130 handles, and next thing I knew, it reversed on me, and it overtook me. I mean, man, the market just came back like a fury. And,
right.
You go through these big ups and backs, So I basically said, man, I'm not going to panic out of this. So I went and took a little break and came back. Everything settled back down, and we had a major sell. But that was a quick little. I mean, it was pretty close, man. I felt like covering because it looked like we were going to have another one of these huge updates for a second.
Right. So basically, what happened was Christine Lagarde, which you should like actually, but the market being so basically Christine Lagarde, ECB all this was telegraphed, and we've been speaking about this. Is why it's the reason we do this podcast is to try to steer you away from the punters and dribblers. I mean the dribblers, not the punters. The dribblers that have just all this, and so it hits America, and they're oblivious to what's going on, like it was a surprise. It wasn't a surprise, and then they all think it doesn't matter. So you got CPI out tomorrow. You had the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, raised rates yesterday. The RBA, Reserve Bank of Australia, did an outside one. ECB, all this stuff's going on, right? Oil and gas are hitting, massive highs. And somehow it keeps going up. So that's what a bear market rally does. And what Madavi was talking about, and he'll fill in when he's back here, but the US actually bought it up on that like it didn't matter. And then eventually the pros, like you can see it in the bonds. You can see what the euro did. The euro went up and then down, totally reversed. And you can see we had a bond auction today, which was 30-year. And so that was a much more successful in demand than the last two. Which were both D-rated, 310, and this was a 30. And that's more safe haven, investors wanting these higher interest rates, i.e. they're not buying stocks, right? So anyway, you back, Mado?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, mate. I was just filling in with that ECB.
Yeah. So as soon as that markets were kind of going back and forth, as soon as that ECB was released, and I didn't even think much of it because it sounded like when it came released, it said they're not doing anything this time, and they're going to raise it in March. But I didn't hear the comments. I guess the comments were pretty bearish. But man, that after that came out, that thing put a fear back into the markets.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. It took a while for it really to sink in, and so the currencies, like I've said before, the best traders in the world are sitting on debt. So basically, money speaks, right? So what are the biggest markets in the world? Right, so they're currencies, bonds, and obviously, and why? Because those markets are so big, and it's real flows, and so these guys are ahead of the curve, and they're putting on positions way ahead. That's why I try to caution people with day trading. So, like for example, we put on this our S&P position a week ago now, I think, right? Offset, but there's fundamental reasons, technical reasons, and you also know where you're wrong. So that's what goes on. Now here, just think, if you're the main euro trader at a massive bank, so it used to be, but it's changed, Citibank, Deutsche Bank, to sell 2 or 3 yards of euro, you got to get it up before you get it down. So the same logic also happens in stocks. So that's why these bear market rallies. Madavi said it. You said it maybe 2 months ago, Madavi. Who makes money are those that are patient and then have the ways and wherewithal to get the shorts on, right? And so that's what happens. So you've got to get it up first. But it's funny how the little guy, the dribbler, will tell you all that's bullshit. Well, proof's in the pudding time after time. But go ahead, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you first want to get the price up, get them all nice and toasty, looking good, and then rip out the guts, right?
I like that toasty, that kind of... so false security. And so we'll talk about a stock at the end of today that we traded. Well, actually, I didn't trade. Madavi traded. DocuSign, same sort of thing. And you look at the chart. The reason you look at charts isn't some magic bloody potion. A, it's to tell you what's happened, pictorial. It shows you all maths. That'd be B. And C is algorithms, right? So picture tells the story. It's not just to make some story up. Okay, so Nasdaq, we can see. So same situation. The bull. This isn't as dramatic. It's pretty dramatic as the S&P. So basically, if you're a bull, you want this to be an A, B, C, and it to go hard up. Now, there's a lot of people calling for that. So we respect that could happen. So given the position we had today, we had a decent one. We took 2/3 off going into the CPI, right? In case that, and you got noise release. And because it really didn't break down. I mean, it's down a lot, but it didn't really shit the bed, as they would say back in the day, right? Is that a technical term? So on the weekly on NAS, so look, it didn't quite get to tanking. That's why we never got too heavy, unfortunately, in S&P till it started breaking down today, really after Christine Lagarde. So, but look this is what Madavi first shorted on, this pink line. Remember, that was a test of all that, right? So, very similar. So you know your levels. So you're watching the same thing, whether this is an ABC complete and then it gets ratcheted. It may be more of a bigger pattern, you know. You just keep your minds open. Okay.
Stressful day. I mean, man, they don't make it easy.
Well, that's why I try to have a strategy, right? So old Meta Johnny, who, by the way, Facebook became Meta today. So apparently it's a much better and a new and improved company, right?
Amazon is down.
I told what did I say about it? They're going to be down for a second before they do a run.
That's low over there.
Exactly.
Disclosure.
Amazon called. Kimmelson called. They said it's going to go down.
Then they're going to go up. The key is to know when to go with it.
Yeah.
Got it. So as the late great Kenny Rogers would say, you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, yesterday, sorry, mate.
Hold them when they sold them.
Exactly.
Sold.
Yep. I remember back in the old floor days, it's just yours, mine. That's how quick it is. And remember, punters and dribblers. So now that's all done off the floor. But that's 1,000 lots of time, equivalent, right? So when you're doing that, that's why you want to. The only chance you have of having an edge is knowing your edge, your strength, and know what's going on, right? And if you're going to punt it, just like, I mean, who makes all the money in Vegas? The casinos, right? So, same deal in this. Same deal. So here, let's talk about oil for a sec. So now all the punters and dribblers, all you hear about is oil. And that Kramer, someone sent me a message where he said, you got to buy oil stock. And that's why we talked about yesterday and the last few days to take some off. Buy puts, take profit, sell calls, whatever your book is. And because what happens is the stock gets way ahead of it. It's full of emotion. And the other thing is, if the market makers are caught short in it, they got to get it down to buy it, right? Or if maybe they're the ones that got it up to sell it. You don't know. Look, these dribblers that are out there that have never been on a desk, never traded size, they got no freaking idea, right? And if they're brokers, ex-brokers and that sort of thing, they've never been on a desk, It's a whole different game. I'll give you a little tip. When you got size, unless it's a broker you can trust with the back of your hand, there's not many, you can, you're not telling them your position. Because they're going to go on and tell other people to try to get business. The stories I could tell you would blow your bloody mind what really goes on. So we're giving you a little bit of insight as much as we can. But
that's why they use all these fancy instruments a lot of times to try to cover their positions. Big guys.
Well, to cover it and also to confuse you with all these names and
Look at that one Asian guy who blew up. Look how he did his positions. Nobody.
Yeah. What was his name? Bill Wong or something. So remember that, and so he was kind of led into that trap by a bunch of other banks too. That's a sordid little game. What's interesting, as we were talking about that, Madavi, we were talking about Ivan Bowski and the other just before it. So that was a good segue into that, actually. Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, mate.
Andrew, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Pelosi, it's been rumored, or I don't know if it's fact checked, that she just did another one of those, give the husband the money and put in some in the market.
Yeah.
So she supposedly, it ain't doing too well right now, the stock she put into.
Yeah, the rumors are that, and so she has to disclose it, I think, when she gets in, but I don't think you have to disclose when you get out. It's always amazed me. I couldn't imagine a so-called left-wing politician doing it in another country, because you're meant to be for the people, right? But anyway, I think last I heard, and I don't really follow it, but she had a ton of calls on Tesla, way up the top.
That's kind of a game, isn't it? Where they let you know when they go in, but they don't let you go when they go out.
Yeah, Federal Reserve's good at that. Those governors. But if she's true, then I would say she's way underwater. If it's legitimate, right?
Yeah, yes.
See, God works in mysterious ways when it comes to people like that.
Her husband was drunk that day, put in the wrong orders.
You know it's not good if he gets another drunk driver within the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, he might have been. So he might have been got a little bit hammered because he saw his P&L. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's got to tell Nancy. I don't think I'd want to be I don't think. I mean, whatever we think about Nancy, she's got to be a pretty ruthless, strong woman to get where she's got, right? So can you imagine saying, "Hey, darling, I got something to tell you." What's that?
I don't think
I'm down 100 on my Tesla position.
They make millions. They don't even care.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking 100 mil, not $100.
they care.
So he went to the drink cabinet, jumped in the car. I mean, this is all made up, people. This is allegedly. Don't put a hit on it.
Probably lost that on purpose to draw that.
Next minute, we'll have the SWAT come through the door, right?
People been sweating them lately.
So there's what's funny I know there's what's interesting in the US, there's a constant redirection away from just how bad the economic mess it has been, from Pelosi and Biden and all that. It's all going to be about that day in January where they had that protest, the so-called insurrection. A lot of people are upset about it because that's also Pearl Harbor Day. So you can see anyway, they're constantly redirecting. So the point is, in a real partisan world, it really doesn't matter what either says anymore, right, guys? So
because if they do that, it just sets such bad precedents that it's not.
Well, I just think it's all about having eyes away from oil, gas, losing all their money because of being locked up, all that sort of stuff.
I think they want to try to ban them from running again.
Well, that could be the other thing, but I think there's a redirect. Well, I mean,
only several.
Is he really going to run again?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, look, okay, there's the fervent Trump supporters, like there's the fervent Nancy, and just your hardcore Democrat, Republican, left, right. But most people I know of the right persuasion or like libertarian or right wing aren't fans of Donald Trump. It's more the Donald Trump fans are the ones that are still with him, or you know what I mean?
Hey, as a terrible job Biden's done, people might be like, hey, maybe.
Well, yeah. So
not that bad.
So Biden's terrible. So a lot of lefty people that I know, other than we're not getting pot, but the ones with a brain and look at stuff that aren't just partisan, they're not fans of Biden at all. So if there's a proper leader, so Biden, correct me if I'm wrong, but the incumbent always runs, right? I mean, he's so old, I can't imagine it. But so from the right wing side, if they come up with someone half decent who's not as divisive and look, Trump did some good things, but geez, he did a lot of bad nutty things too, right? I don't know how to say this with pissing off half the listeners, but I don't know. I don't understand any of it. But,
oh man, he just loves it.
But at the end of the day, all this stuff is more and more uncertainties for the markets. You can see that in bonds and currencies. And I mean, what did crypto do today? Did anyone even look at it? We don't.
Trump had a lot of influence to the market.
Yeah, 100%. And so, but so here's the.
And he would say stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely. So the difference is though, when Trump was president, also the Fed Reserve was pumping money in because we had the COVID thing, right, and lower interest rates. And then comes the end of the year. So what's interesting, Biden claimed, see, the stock market's up higher than me and all this, and they ran it right to the top. And it was obviously free money, we know that, or easy money, low interest rates. He's shut his mouth up since it's all collapsed. So the bottom line is it was really the Fed pushing it all up. But Trump, he would pump it, Remember, hey, I had a meeting with the Chinese thing with the trade. Remember that phone call? I had a meeting with the Chinese whatever. And then it turns out, well, I didn't actually speak to him. Oh, okay. But it was enough to turn the market around, right? He did all that sort of crap. Yeah.
We hate each other. It was positive.
So, whereas this bloke comes on and I don't know what he's saying and he's falling asleep and.
But do you remember when the Fed cut off the stimulus package and he started getting mad? Hey, turn it back on. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you terrible.
Oh, yeah. And he said, you got a low rate, you got lower rates. So what's funny is, here's all I hear out of partisan supporters. So if they're lefties or righties, the lefties just going, oh, it's better than Trump, all this, you can't blame that. The righties go, they ignore the bad of their own. I mean, how can you honestly, if you're a normal brain, I don't know how you can support any of this shit, to be honest. And what I don't get with partisan is they think these people give a shit about them. They don't. Yeah, that's a lot of S-bombs there, but that's but anyway, so that's why the market is kind of reflects all that, because it's just people, right? What was that, mate? Well, I think what they do a great job with partisan politics, or it's partisan. So in the rest of the world, most people are left or right based on income, standard of living. Obviously, part of it's what your mum and dad did, stuff like that. But in the US, you got rich people voting left, and poor people voting left. And the left here is run by billionaires. We're talking about the Speaker of the bloody Democrat Party, which is meant to be the equivalent of like a Labour Party, right? Playing the stock market for billions of dollars. In those positions, that's how big they are.
Good job. You did your job.
So, that's what's perverse. That's what I don't understand. So if I'm a Labour voter in Australia, for example, right, or in England, I'm generally, it's not always the case, but it's changed over time. But generally I'm a factory worker, or I'm low working, I got I'm not getting good access to health or whatever. Here, they make out they're helping all that. They're billionaires running the party. So you got billionaires on. It's like insane, really. If you're poor in America, you're not represented. You think you are. And so how they get in is, I've seen it once described as that. So people only vote certain parties because somehow it makes them feel good. It's like ridiculous. But that's the way it is. And we'll see if it ever changes. You've got to get someone inspirational that's not full of shit and isn't beholden to some outside power, you know?
For that to happen, you have to take out the donations out of it. The government...
Yeah, I'm a big believer you shouldn't be allowed lobbying and all that. Yeah, because it's bribery. It's bribery, right?
Yeah. So basically how it should be done, if it's a real democracy, the government funds every person with so much money equally and let them run their campaign. That's all the money you get.
Dude, if it was a real democracy, we'd be running the country. No, just joking.
So when you got the money game involved, it's not a democracy. It's basically who's got the juice, right?
Yeah, it's been like that forever in a lot of... I mean, in fact, it's that in any country in this planet. It's either run by a tyrant through religion or iron fist or money, basically. Fear, right? It's the same as this, fear and greed. So actually, the stock market refreshes another. Give me,
democracy, they're not.
What is greed? Greed is only love. It's an excess of love.
Yeah, exactly. Love is in the air everywhere. Anyway,
So
the whole world's about us and them. Everyone thinks they're right. It's how you're brought up, right? If you're brought up, just think of it. If you're brought up in certain countries, certain religions, it's whacked down your throat that everyone else is evil. Every other country's bad. So they replaced a lot of that in the West with sport, right? The reason people go and watch, get so involved in not so much the Olympics, but just say you're watching LA. Shouldn't really use the Dodgers. Say the Rams versus the Giants. It kind of replaces war in theory, right? So, and you're cheering for it. Because you think look at these wars that they're cheering on now, they don't even seem to care that there's actually lives lost. So all that logic goes right. Even just think, as simple as this is, Elon Musk goes in to buy Twitter. All of a sudden, that became a political thing. And so how easy it is. How easy it is with partisans.
He went after him too.
Dude, and it's free speech. He said, I want free speech. And they go, basically saying we don't want free speech is what they're saying, right? Just think about what's going on.
The guy said, he goes, I want free speech. The guy goes, there's no free lunch in America. Boy, go back south. Did you hear that?
I mean, there's so much. But so all that is in the market. So you think about that logic. So if we look at a chart of the S&P, so end of the world's happening, and nothing. Just remember this: the stock market is not the economy. The stock market is a bunch of manipulation of human emotions and multiple personalities. And right down the bottom, when everyone says it's the end of the world, it's like an equilibrium. Right up the top, it's the same thing. And we see this same thing here. And look how easy it gave up 200 points here. And look how easy it rallied 300 here, because people don't want to miss out. Greed, fear. Human emotions, you know. That's why I said the best traders I've ever seen come from a brutal world, like sports or something, body contact sports, where if you get it wrong, you get smashed. So physical pain is a lot harder than mental pain, right? But people with mental pain don't get that. That's why the guys who do good on things like trading. You walk into a real trading room one day where they're singing billions of dollars of currencies or bonds around. Compare that, then go into a wank shop, that's what we call them, up in New York, these stock jockeys where daddy got them the job because he went to the right university or had the right funding, and compare that, and then look how much those guys give up every year when this happens, which you're seeing, right?
Or daddy gave him one of their accounts to trade at the firm.
Right,
That's how
right. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff goes on, right?
Absolutely.
Rather than hard, because it's a brutal game, and you got to learn the brutality of it. And any great trader has been smashed, right? And they come back from it. It's how you come back from it. So don't believe otherwise. And so it's not a thing you can do, I hate to say, part-time, or blokes saying they learn it part-time, they're traders. That's not bloody trading. And I think we said that to Roman when he was in today. You can't call them trading, because some of this stuff happens instantly, you can lose it all or make it all. Just think if you're a retail trader trading natural gas yesterday. They don't even know what Freeport LNG is, let alone what it can do. And boom, bang, 12 cents, gone. Right? Because usually the punter and dribbler is over leveraged, over this, doesn't know when not to trade, right? Can't miss out. I mean, that's just something we know.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Andrew, it's like you said, it's how you come back.
Yeah, it's exactly how you come back.
That's how you're a tough fighter. That's how anybody could come up real quick and get knocked down. Who gets back up, and how do they get up?
Exactly, mate. Well, the same in your fighting game, but we used to joke. Like, I remember, like, trading. I remember how many times I got run over by a big Samoan or something trying to tackle them, right? So you adjust how you can do it. I mean, you know.
Yeah, and you can learn or be a repeat offender.
Yeah, well, then you end up with brain damage and in our game, right? But
you do finesse on that guy.
Exactly. And so finesse is the word. So just say you're off. If you're not sitting at Goldman Sachs or someone with all that power, you have to finesse into your niche what you can do separately. Same sort of thing, right?
Yep, exactly.
You know, and it's all mental, as I've said 100 times. W.D. Gann, who a lot of people don't like, her from the auto world, it's all bullshit, whatever. His whole game was saying, I can teach anyone how to make money, but 85% of you will lose. Because A, you don't have the discipline, B, your ego won't let anyone else tell you. And we see it all the time. We saw it with a mate of ours over the last 2 days, didn't we?
I want to hear.
Huh?
It took me a while to hear Hossein.
Oh, yeah.
It took me a while, and he's my best friend, you know?
Yeah.
He was only looking out for me, but it took, finally, one time, I noticed, and I went, whoa. And the rest of them clicked in. So I think it's, especially males. You have a hard time.
Yeah, 100%. And what's interesting, so the trading is a very misogynist world. It has been a lot of that elite. So when they talk about toxic males, a lot of it, some of it, I think, is an excuse. But it's not an excuse at all in the trading world. Some of the shit I've seen is just downright. So some of the best traders I've seen, or analysts, brokers, have been women because of the crap they've had to put up with. But they've put up with it, you know.
Oh yeah.
And it's a shame that they had to, but you know, it's disgusting, really.
Testosterone.
Huh?
Maybe not all the testosterone.
Well, a lot of men just can't believe, it's shaped like they can't believe they're wrong, or just say they're one of those persons we were talking about. Daddy gets them a job in the northeast part of America, elite schools, Ivy schools. So they think they're better anyway. It's kind of like the problem I always had with Trump on the negative side with that bloke was he was a typical rich kid that had never been told he couldn't do something, or was never wrong, or got bailed out by money. And that's a lot of these people that are in these bigger firms, right?
Right.
So imagine being a woman in that environment, right? With all that bastardization they do, and, you know.
Yeah, you got to break through. You're definitely a special individual.
Well, and that, or if you're not your stereotype of whatever firm it is, you know.
This is the funniest thing with Trump. My daddy only gave me $10 million.
That gave him education
Like,
on
holy
how to do taxes.
So
Give you $10 million?
He didn't know, and he didn't teach me how to do business like he did.
Exactly.
Well, I've seen plenty of rich kids. Daddy give them $10 million, they turn it into $1 million pretty quick.
I know it's he happened to do good with it, but did he really do good with it? Because he bankrupt everything he goes into.
But if
Oh yeah, well, he knew how to play the game. His game really is about about tax lawyers and all that
So
shit, right?
he ends up suing you.
but if you think about business and war, he's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to look at the bottom line. Though a lot of people doubt he was really worth billions, but so who knows with that bloke, right? Or any of these people. There was a rumor that Pelosi's husband used to be his driver. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Oh, nice.
Maybe that's why she don't like him that much. That's why she probably don't like Trump.
so that's a funny. So that same story they used to say about Rupert Murdoch that his dad gave him $1 million or something like that, or he only inherited his dad's business. But look what he did with it, right? I mean, I don't like Rupert Murdoch. I mean, I can't say I'm on his Christmas card.
But I would say Trump plays.
I don't say I dislike any. You shouldn't really dislike anyone, I guess. But what Trump is a guy that knows how to play the system. That's what made him president. A guy to know how to market himself and all that. What he doesn't know, and that's what brought him undone, his ego is just so over control. He believed he was almost like godlike, you know. I get, and the political game, and they hated him because he didn't play his game, you know. It's all just smoke and mirrors, all this shit.
Andrew, trust fund babies is different than somebody who their dad gives them money one time. Because you may get a business from your dad, but economics change, people change, the consumer changes, environments change. So to keep something going, the longevity from which pop started in the, say, 60s when cream sodas were big, you know, now they got diet this, they got all kind of different stuff.
Also, one thing about Trump is he was not the chosen son. It was the one that died. So he was always trying to prove his dad he was wrong. So
yeah, I remember you telling me that, yeah. It's kind of that's kind of like George Bush and the other Bush being president, right?
Yeah. So his other brother who was an alky, I guess, who died. He wanted to prove his dad, I'm the one, you know what I'm saying? So,
is that why he doesn't drink, huh? Interesting.
So anyway,
He doesn't do tutu.
you know, that's what separates him just from a pure trust fund baby.
You say he doesn't do any tutu.
Probably not.
I think he's real clean, isn't he, from all that stuff? His weakness is women, obviously. He has a bit of a weakness there. But,
so he doesn't drink, and because his brother was bad on that stuff, alcohol and whatever else you can think of.
Yeah. That can be a downer. Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about all that in context, how it affects markets. So all these variables, and so the bottom line is what we're saying is a lot of these people at big banks just have a lot of power and a lot of that. They're not necessarily good at it. So from my own personal experience, what I've seen the best traders are at places places like Goldman, because they have really good programs and all that. But a lot of these different firms.
What about JP Morgan?
Yeah, they're good too.
Yeah, Morgan Stanley, really sharp people. So they put you on the edge. They have really good programs. So don't think. So people that hate them, most people that hate anyone, they should have a bloody look at themselves. It's us versus them. That's why I hate partisan politics. I'm just like, grow us, you know. And conspiracy. You know, at the end of the day, you can control yourself and that around you. You can't. I've never worked out in my life, and we all know I've been through my people that you trust, you can't trust, but they're not going to give a crap about you. B, you can't change the way they think because they don't care how you think. And now just expand that to politics and that. They definitely don't, right? And the only reason those trust fund guys get a job is people want business out of them, right? Or it makes them look better. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, we could go on all day about that sort of stuff. But that is in the market, and you notice whenever it fell, people have a necessity. Where's the S&P? Where'd the S&P go? On the short term. So let's look at this. So people have a necessity to try to pick the bottom or the top. What works is if you try to get the meat, and then if it starts working for you, then you stay in it and add to it, right? We just lost the boys real quick there, I think. You still there, Madavi? I think they just had a call.
Yes, sir. Right here.
Yep. So, So let's have a quick look, and then we'll call it a. So stocks pretty well all did the same thing. So Madavi had some fun on. I think. Donkey.
EIO had earnings this morning.
I know a farmer had a name.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Is it DocO or DocU? DocU, right?
It was DOCU.
Yeah. So
I mean, this is a $500 stock. Look at it now. Oh my God.
So this is one of the dribbler favorites, but it was also an investor favorite. So what a smart investor realizes, they're overvalued. That's why we're mentioning on oil and gas that people can take profit. What happens in tech stocks, it happens every bloody bull market. So on a weekly one, so this is the DocuSign. Anyone who's bought a house or anything, you use it.
Favorite, right?
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, if anyone doubts technicals and Nova Wave, look at this double top on +2/8. That was 300 and whatever that top was, $310. Then all the warnings start. The shit hits the fan at the start of the year, and look where we are. We're all the way down. It looks like it got down to $42.
Stocks are shorted are still going. Cars, GE,
Yeah. And here's today, right? This is what Madavi's talking about today. So their earnings came out. This is a 1 minute chart. This has got to be a bad tick, this one. So their earnings came out. It looks like it went up first to $90 and then fell all the way to 70. This is where you got short from memory.
Yeah.
75.
The initial part of it, the first run of it. God, I wish I would have had $90. Oh man, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Oh, is Amazon doing something right now?
No, he's what is split to it, asking.
Oh, it's a 20-1. We played that on Monday. We bought it on the Friday. That was Roman's trade, actually. We bought it on Friday at, what was it? Anyway, it opened on Monday, 20-1 split, and we made roughly $5 or $6 a share times 20. So that was good. It was a good earner, right? But we're out of that. As I said, we bought on the Friday, sold on the Monday. And it's way down now, I think. We'll look at that in a sec. So here's DocuSign anyway. You sold here, and I think you've covered it, right? So
I covered it, and then I was playing it all around, trading it. Then they came out on TV, that last little thing. I was like, hey, I'm going to hit it for a little bit of, size here. Try to make a couple points on it.
Yeah, that was that one. That was the one.
Yeah, it went all the way down 65. Man, look at that. From high and low, that's 25 points.
Didn't try to get it too? Amazon?
That's 25. That's 25% right there. That's crazy. Okay, let's look at Amazon. So Amazon, so
that thing got beat up. Hey, the best one is Index. Hey, you gotta love that.
Oh, we got to look at that. As you know, that's the Glorious One's favorite short. So this hasn't. So on Amazon. Oh, sorry, on Amazon. Where's daily? So on Amazon, we shorted. We bought it here at 24.40 or something, 2400, and it opened the next day, and we sold them at 128, I believe, right? I think we all did the same trade. I'm trying to find where. Here's a 5 minutes. So it's still showing the thing there, punters. So I'm just trying to. Yeah, so you can see it's come on and it's dribbled right down to $16. So it's now $12 off where we sold it. And let's times that by 20. You see how much it's down. So remember, when something splits, the only thing that changes is more stock out there. So it's not actually a good thing. But in bull markets, people think it's a good thing because it makes it cheaper. So anyway, what was the one we're going to look at? NVAX.
It really helps with the options because people say you can do fractional, but you can't do fractional in options.
Yeah, it helps it trade more, but if it's a bear market, it's still a piece of crap. Right? Just means it means more people buy puts. So here's NVAX.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So NVAX, as you know, has been one of Madavi's shorts from about 300. We've gone through a lot of times on here.
Remember I got stopped out because the news came out?
Yeah. So Madavi was short here. It's come out. They holded it. They came out. They got approval. So they got that. He obviously got out. Then he got back in. Why is it doing that? And you can see what happened, right? It went up here to plus 3/8, and then it just crapped itself all the way back to where it was. God works in mysterious ways, right?
So they got approved by the panel, like 20 panel, right? They gave them all the 20 panels, gave them the seal of approval. Then they got delayed. I guess something about their factory process or something.
Yeah. So they're back to where they were. So look at this. Yeah. The Lord giveth, taketh away.
Oh, man. People got to be pissed at the FDA on that one.
So, well, it's not the FDA's fault.
Yeah, well, but you know what it is? People thinking it would.
Oh, they got to blame some. They're going to piss NVAX off.
Says it gives it the green light, then they delay it.
So look at this. If you think this is a dangerous stock, look at this. 41.60. Back to 44. Back to 55. Back to 41. Back to 59. Back to 41.
3 days, and you'll see it like a 200.
So, punters and dribblers, this is why we talked about this at the start, about investors and traders. You take. There's nothing wrong with taking your profit. A good investor doesn't sit here at when it's 60 from 40 and hope it's going up. He's going to protect himself.
Stitch fix. That thing's
oh yeah, this is a dribbler special. This one, a lot of our remember our DDD that we took profit on the last wave. Some of them we've been slowly getting back into, but did I not do that right? It's SFIX, I thought. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So look at Spitch. This was a dribbler special. So what this is something like you send in design and so Kimo and Madavi and we tried to design a dress, but they didn't like it. So we sent it into them, and that pretty well goes by this stock price. Anyway, 780 to 112. This is one of the most insane ones. I've never understood how people can call that an investment, right? They don't make money, all this. And this Stitch Fix, look at this chart, mate. This is brutal.
Well, it'll do it in a new way, right? So people are going to sew your clothing and everything, send it to you or something.
But
sounds good.
Yeah. But so plus 1/8 too, full move. So at the end of the day, if you like a product, it doesn't mean you have to own the shares. Like if you drive a Tesla, love your Tesla, it doesn't mean you got to spend $1,200 on a share or whatever, right? If you like that Stitch Fix and you went and you're busting your ass, if we understand it right, to make $20 flogging some clothes to someone, and you're willing to spend $108 on a non-profitable thing that needs to raise money, you can't think like that if you're a trader. That's the difference between a trader and a dribbler, or a punter. Just he'll get on the movement, or an investor that doesn't do his due diligence. It's like we know some dribblers on things like tech. These things don't make money. That's why we have the DDD. Who cares? At the end of the day, there's bull and bear swing. So you go with the herd. As I've said many times, you read the crowd. But if you fall in love with something, you're done. As I said yesterday, oil and gas traders and commodity traders, hardcore, respect, conservative. I don't mean politics. I mean they respect their the risk and the income. They take stuff off. And when you hear dribblers pushing stuff on stocks, on oil stocks and that, they're going to take some off. Like, why wouldn't you? You saw what natural gas did in 3 minutes yesterday. right? That's the real world of commodities and trading. But anyway, but it's real. You need it. What we're saying is things get to a price where they're not value anymore, or they become value. Now, this SFX thing, I know we're going to get someone ask me, well, is it value at 770? It was down here before. Are they making money yet? Does this go to zero? Does this have to issue more shares? Look at all that before you do it, right? I know I ain't going to buy it. That's all I got to say. Is any of us three going to buy Stitch Fix shares? For more than a minute as a scalp? I mean as an investment? Doubtful, right? Look at that thing. So look, it just bang. It was 830 straight to 640. That's quarter of its value gone like that. Boom.
What was shocking me? Out of all these ones, GameStop is one of the best that holds up. And
yeah, actually, what does that mean? So, what GameStop was smart, the blokes played the game, right? And Michael Burry, they played the game. They, where was those stocks on here? They knew, shit, it ain't worth this, but let's use it. We need to make money. And they never lied about anything. They used value, right? So they raised hundreds of millions of dollars, survived, or at least give the company a chance to do something else, right? And they're sitting on it like cash, probably waiting for something good to buy. He's going about NFTs and all that, but you know that they know that's just all, They'll buy someone, I'm sure. So here's GameStop. That's a 1 minute chart. But look at a weekly chart. They go to 400. Remember that? I can't believe I owned it here and sold it here and I went to here. But anyway. So they're using their money. AMC was another one. They took advantage of this by issuing shares out to people who wanted to participate. Yeah, and they even said it. Elon Musk said the same thing. I'm selling my shares here. Oh, okay, you're a dickhead for selling them. Oh, okay, whatever, mate. You know what I mean? Same thing.
He knows a lot of people follow his move.
Oh, yeah.
But he's telling them, I'm going to sell. So he's like, and there's so many people said, oh, okay, you're an idiot. Oh, okay. It is right company, but...
So the SEC is worried about GameStop. Well, look at the rest of these companies came down way more than that.
And the only reason, right, was that one guy who was Cohen's mate or funded by him, whatever it was the wrong way around. They get, obviously, allegedly, it's all alleged, got the call, hey, we got to help our buddy out. Why? He's shorted. Oh, shit. Well, that's not good, is it? Yeah, exactly. They let all the others go. So here's where Elon sold Tesla up here.
Yeah. The funny thing is, they're trying to all blame it on a day trader. This is some guy named Bill.
That he fucking
started.
Yeah, on Reddit, right?
They charged him actually for a second too.
They started a revolution. Everybody stick up for the company.
It tells you.
Everybody's short each other.
It tells you how bad.
And so in a partisan world, half of the people believe that charge. They don't want to look further. Oh, that was that Reddit guy did that. Oh, yeah, of course he did. What's funny with that Melvin guy, he did it twice. I mean, how bad a trader are you, right, to do the same thing twice of that magnitude? Anyway, and it's all alleged. And we will get what's his name? Johnny Depp's lawyer. That's her advice.
That is so ridiculous, man. Try to blame it on the poorest guy and try to put all the blame on him.
Oh, mate, that happens all the time. I know people that's happened to.
Bored
on a chat room. He took that stock to $700, $600 to go to the chat room.
He went into a chat room and said, come on, people, let's get together and fight the system.
Yeah. Investment advisor to everybody.
It's insane, really, when you think about it.
It's ridiculous when you think about it.
Well, what amazes me is how people just let it slide because they're so enamored with greed, they can't see past it. I mean,
they all want to be
when money's your god, you got a problem, basically.
How about that kid, man? That kid was like, they were going to take all his money and everything. Oh my God!
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name now. Do you remember his name?
Blame it on him. It doesn't matter.
But they didn't get away with it.
They finally saw how ridiculous it was. They told me if you testify, we'll let you off.
I think some people should started exposing it on podcasts.
Yeah, it just looked too stupid. Right, mate?
Yeah. I mean, we would like to say they grew some morality, but we know that's not true. So they're all mongrels, basically. So anyway, tomorrow we got CPI out in the morning. It's going to be a hot number, no doubt. So the story, how they'll spin it, the bulls will spin it to try to to rescue it. And there's a lot of people trying to say this was a bottom and we're going to rally from here. They're going to say that peak inflation's in. They're going to keep pushing that. The reality is, I saw a thing today, 35 or 36% of the average person who's struggling, income is now going to gasoline and power. Just think about that. With these high costs, these are real. So, and I saw another comment today that, man, I can't believe how thin the volume is up and down. So there's less people able to punt this market. Or they're scared or they're caught, who knows. But just keep all that in mind and beware of the dribbles and respect the market. Let the market tell you what it's going to do, right? We've given you all the frames. You got all these frames, the levels, mathematically what it can do, right? So, and look at how the market reacts to that number. We've had days where it's gone up on really bad CPI number, then it comes back on, a few days later when they realise it. So we'll see which way it goes. So we'll listen to the market. Well, that's about it. Anything else, lads? I think that's it from us. So hopefully that's been helpful to you, what we've gone through there.
Later, mate.
As trading, yeah. If you like what we're doing, like us, subscribe us, share it. If you got questions, I answered someone's question there on YouTube, which is about natural gas. Explaining it. Use your levels on natural gas that we went through and be constrained and look at the wave. So that was actually turned out to be a good short as we went through it. It broke, but you had to be pretty good to get out of it today. So and know the levels. That rallied after the EIA number. So know your news levels, know what can react, and be proactive. Don't be reactive.
Most important thing, don't chop yourself away on the bad days because you can miss days like today.
Right, exactly.
This is where you make all your money. Those other days, you just got to survive and try to put a little bit in the till if you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you sit on your hands and then you be like a cobra and bang.
Yeah. Or sniper. You can be like sniper.
Sniper, just something. You be patient and you have a strategy and plan. And just think of that: 5 days of not churning away on futures, let alone the angst in the mind, the cost in brokerage, cost in losses, right?
And risk. Every time you're in a position, you're at risk.
Yeah, the more trades you do, the riskier it gets, right? But if you have a strategy, which is what we had, and then we got rewarded. So.
And the funny thing is, everything we just said, I do it wrong every day. I got to teach myself that.
Yeah. That's why we have G in the office there with him. You hear barking every now and then.
Yeah, that's where you're so good, man. You got the best discipline I know.
Well, I'm like a punch-drunk fighter. Like I said, I've had a lot of Samoans run over the top of me.
Man, that separates you from the rest, right? That's what makes you...
Well, every now and then we still stuff up, right? What was that stock I shorted and you said not to? Right?
Yeah.
But I'll take my loss. But every now and then, no matter who you are, the market has a way of keeping you honest, of reminding you...
About staying out of the fire most of the time.
Yeah, the market will remind you. It's what they used to call it. There's an old, I don't know if you can say it anymore, but they used to say, the market is the biggest bitch you'll ever know. And just when you think you've tamed it, boom. Get back in your corner, boy. Right?
Hey, wait. Didn't you marry one?
Oh, let's not bring that up.
You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes, right?
Yeah. But it is like that. It's almost like the devil, right? Brings you in. And then right at the end, just when you think you got all that discipline, you'll break it down. So you got to keep mind. That's why I say it's psychological. I see Natty just popped 7 cents. Huh?
It gives you, it's got an opportunity to give you all your hopes and dreams, but it shatters most people's.
Yeah. It's like, so you know the saying, the Lord, what is it? Giveth and taketh away. The market gods are like that too, you know. So that's why, and there's just weird things happen that shouldn't. You could be on the wrong side of a news thing. Like we talked about that with stocks, happens all the time, earnings. So never, always watch your size. Don't be all in on something. You know, don't put it all on red or all on green, you know. But anyway, it was good chatting. Thank you, Madavi. Thank you, Chemo. Thank you, everyone who's listening. Hit like, share it if you think it's valuable. And don't be scared to ask us questions either on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, or on the website. And remember, go to the website. You got all the breakdowns of natural gas and oil, all the fundamentals, technicals, bonds. There's a lot of good stuff on there. À tout à l'heure.